Hello, I'm Dina Jackway, Parkview's Chief Administrative Officer, and welcome to another episode of Parkview Connections, a podcast geared to helping our Parkview coworkers and our community leaders connect, learn, and grow. So today we're at AmpLab here at Electric Works in downtown Fort Wayne. Phenomenal location. AmpLab opened up in the fall. And as you know, you've heard so much about more services being offered here at Electric Works. But today we're going to talk with Riley Johnson, who's the director of AmpLab here as part of Fort Wayne Community Schools. Thank you for being a part of this. So we're excited to chat with you about innovative leadership. And AmpLab is an entirely different concept. It's obviously very different than traditional high school experience. So let's start first with just what is AmpLab?
We look at AmpLab as a community-based think tank and launch pad. What's it look like to bring a diverse group of 16, 17, and 18-year-olds and dump them into kind of this really chaotic, a little amorphous environment and ask them to solve problems and identify new problems, all with that goal of helping them further whatever that chosen path is. And so we really, I think, have stolen some ideas from the most progressive education experiences and taken some ideas from different industry sectors and then really looked at kind of the entrepreneurial ecosystem and how we glue those all together in the experience we've built here for juniors and seniors.
So when you think about AmpLab, it clearly is based on innovation. And it's based on this, as you said, this collaborative and very unique environment. So there are 4 labs as part of AmpLab.
Yeah.
And they're all very different. We happen to be sitting today in the Make Lab.
Yeah.
What is Make Lab? And then maybe take us around to the other labs and what they do.
Each of the 4 studios serve a very different purpose. And so here in the Make Studio, it's really all about product and concept development. So when we think about engineering principles and additive manufacturing, we really wanted to make sure that we had a space that students could develop their thoughts and solutions and then bring them to life. And so the Make Studio really is the hub of where that development happens. And then across the building, we have our Three Rivers Venture Studio that really focuses on business and concept development around entrepreneurialism. And we have our Serac Family Foundation Create Studio. So we have a podcast studio, 2 recording studios, the ability to do video, photography, graphic design, animation. And then lastly is our Grow Studio, where students can really live in a R&D environment in the sciences, and we have a greenhouse attached to that. A student really can immerse themselves in one of the 4 studios, or they can really expand their skill set across each space. And so we've seen a little bit of both of that where, here in the Make Studio, we've got students that don't ever want to leave and have really continued to build on that skill set. And then we also have a subset of students that we kind of look in the Renaissance mindset that want to spend a little bit of time everywhere, and we've seen value in both of those.
I think what an incredible flexibility to allow the student to choose where they gravitate, what their interests are, and all the while they're learning, they're trying to figure out what it is their path is. So when we think about students that are able to come to AmpLab, I know you just told me that there's a opening for now applications for this next year for students. How does someone even get selected to come to AmpLab?
There's really 2 criteria that come into play. So they obviously have to be a current junior or senior in a Fort Wayne Community School high school. They have to be able to fit an experience like this into their course schedule. But we chose not to put any barriers on the potential. So there's no academic requirement. There is no attendance or discipline metric that a student has to hit. And I think we've seen by having that philosophy, the true diverse makeup of the community here. We are about 66% minority, 55% female. We have a higher than average LGBTQ plus population. Academically, we have students that are valedictorian candidates, and we have students that have below 1.5 GPA. And so then we look at kind of the interest spectrum, it's just as divergent as that. So kids come to us really interested in all walks of life. And so as we kind of weren't sure what that would look like in this first year, it's been a blessing because I think when you come into AmpLab, we are Fort Wayne.
When you think about something that is truly GPA agnostic, you kind of throwing that out the window and saying we really want to bring a group of individuals together, it's no different than a team in an organization. Because when you're in a team, it's made up of a diverse individuals from all backgrounds, all kinds of thought. That diversity of thought is what makes a team better. As an employer in the region, it helps as they're finished with their experience and they come into the workplace, they've already been well set up for that type of environment in a team, in a wide variety and diverse team to succeed.
You're spot on there. Like we've harped that really our outcomes for these students are new skills, relationships, and experiences, because we believe by building an entrepreneurial spirit and developing their leadership capacity and what does it look like to collaborate and have a sound mind around contribution, and knowing that equal doesn't always mean fair, and fair doesn't always mean the best product. And so sometimes it's about finding your role and then bringing your best. Every kid that comes from here is lifted into our community, whether it's right into the workforce or after they have some sort of post-secondary attainment, and they're bringing those skills and mindset and spirit with them. And we think that will be a value add to our community.
When you think about the teachers that were along for this, and as you were trying to set, yes, the vision, you probably have a lot of teachers who were also excited about being a part of it and their connection to AmpLab. How did that process work? Are they all from Fort Wayne Community Schools?
It's very much a hodgepodge of some of the best and brightest classroom teachers that either have lived in very progressive, innovative school settings that this was a natural interest. And then we've got a subset of industry experts that have chosen to come in as full-time teachers into this environment. And so we really have that mixture of where they're all Fort Wayne Community School classroom teachers now.
That is setting up the students for success because they're pouring into these kids with some of those same concepts and making sure that they're connecting the dots on the work they're doing and how that translates certainly into the Northeast Indiana industries that they're supporting.
Being an innovative leader, and I see this in our kids, is taking on the right role at the right time, and then setting the conditions for others to live their story. What does it look like to make sure that, the team here has what they need, whether it be tangible or mental? Our outcomes have to look the exact same as what our hopes and dreams for AmpLab are. I believe it leads to trust, and I believe it leads to empowerment. And I believe it's one of those things where if that transparency is there, there's never a gotcha. I think innovative leadership is really built on the back of agility. And so I think that principle has always been at the forefront of the AmpLab vision and model, because we have permission. If it works, why? And let's figure out how to make it better. If it didn't work, we can reflect on why it didn't work. There's no hidden agenda behind that. And I think if I'm not living that same code, why would I ask other people to?
So agility, I think it's a perfect word because in leadership, that translates everywhere. If we are not able to be agile and thought or in practice, and not everyone has that opportunity to build something from scratch, and because it takes a unique leadership skill to do that. But we call it radical flexibility at Parkview. I mean, we've done it that way, but now we can pivot and we can do something very different. Riley, this has been wonderful, and thank you for allowing us to come into the studio and into AmpLab today to be a part of this. applaud you and your team. What an incredible gift that you're giving to our community, and certainly paving the way for students and as they come into knowing what industries they want to be a part of. The amount of experiences that you can give, these rich experiences, only make us all better. So thanks for your leadership in helping shape what it is today and what it's going to become.
Thank you.
So thank you for tuning in for another episode of Parkview Connections. And this particular episode was actually a suggestion from one of our coworkers to really hear more about what was happening here at Electric Works. And so thank you for that, and keep those ideas coming. If you are a Parkview coworker, you can certainly leave those on Parkview Pulse. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're able to leave a comment as well. But thank you for the suggestions. We appreciate it. See you next time for the next episode.